What's up, guys? What is up? Welcome back to another episode of Deck Talk Podcast. And we have a hammer coming on with us tonight. A local, a local guy to us, with it being in the Chattanooga area. And I'm sure everybody has heard. I know we have been hearing about this gentleman probably since he was about 10 years old, taking money from grown men at some local tournaments. But we got Bank Shaw on with us, and man, we're so excited to have him on. But before we get going, guys, let's take care of a little business real quick. So, lights out on the water, not with Firefly Outdoor Marines. This navigation light blasts bright without eye brightness or attracting bugs. So make sure you are seen with Firefly Marine Outdoors navigational lights. Go check them out at fireflymarine.com. Use discount code DECKTALK10 and enjoy those navigational lights and check out the other products that they have. But guys, if you don't know, I'm Colin Burnett.
I'm Pappy J. It's good to be back. Good to be back.
Man, I tell you. So we happened to get lucky, guys, and we have scheduled Banks to come on before he just made just tore him up on stage 6 at, what was it, Grand Lake.
Yep, Grand Lake. I appreciate you guys for having me on. The run I've been on's been pretty special, and to get on here and be able to talk about it, it's even better.
Heck yeah. And so I want to start out, Banks. So how did you get into fishing? For people that may not they may not know your history with fishing. So how did you get into it?
So, pretty much how it all started, I actually grew up right around the lake. It was on Lake Chickamauga back in Wolf Tiger Creek, if any of you guys are familiar with that. I had a little local lake lot down there. We had like a community boat ramp. Everybody in the neighborhood did, and that's pretty much where it all started. I would just go down to the boat ramp and just fish off the bank, pretty much. Just throw a red worm, night crawler out there, and just pretty much catch whatever bit. And how I got into bass fishing was I would catch some bass around there pretty much, but my grandpa, he would take me to his buddies like stocked ponds out in it was actually in Appleton, Tennessee, and he would take me out there and I'd catch just a ton of fish. And like from then on I pretty much loved it. And then I fished off the bank a ton on the lake right around Harrison Bay, the state park. And I got my first John boat whenever I was around, I think, 10 years old. And I just had some trolling motors on it and would troll around the bank. And then from then on, I pretty much like knew right then and there, like this is what the dream was. Like I wanted to do it from then on out.
Heck yeah. And that's one thing you that I want to be able to, like, with the podcast, that we want to be able to show, like, for kids that have that dream, to make fishing as a living. And you are, you are, when we get asked that, we tell people to kind of like follow in your footsteps, because forward facing alone, you are a hammer on forward facing sonar, but you are so versatile in any other aspects of fishing. So you're not solely relying on forward facing sonar, that you can adapt and make that changes when you need. And so that's, we tell people, like, just watch video of Banks. That's all you need to do. Just watch video of Banks, because that's how you need to kind of approach doing things, and just spend a lot of time out on the water.
Yeah, so I grew up like way before, and like fished a bunch way before it was around. So like that was kind of just like, I guess you could say, like an instinct that I learned like as I was growing up, just to kind of fish without it and like understand what was going on without it. But nowadays, like, you definitely like have to spend some time with it as well. Like if a tournament, if you fish a tournament trail like where you're able to use it, like you basically like need to be somewhat good with it, understand it, and just like the traditional fishing side of things. And one thing I feel like I'm really good at is doing both of them, just because I grew up, like I said, just doing the traditional fishing, and I also learned that like pretty much when I came to college. A lot of the guys, like everybody was just kind of learning it at the same time together. And once I was like around a lot of guys that were doing the same thing, learning it as we would go, like we just picked up on so much through just like a season or just a couple years as we'd all communicate to each other and pick up on it at the same time.
Right.
It's like everything else. I mean, it just takes a lot of time and practice to learn it, and you'll just slowly pick up on it. You just have to realize the little clues, the little differences that kind of go on throughout the day, and just really just like soak it up. Basically, I mean, just understand as much as you possibly can, and just piece it together on every little lake you go to, and like use what you learn, like say on your home lake, like try to make a new lake you go to relate to your home lake as much as you can.
Yeah, and so has growing up on the Tennessee River and on Chickamauga and stuff, uh, has that been able to kind of help you like make decisions and stuff, and being able to approach, I mean, because you're in totally different types of bodies of water, but has growing up on Chickamauga with it being a river system, but you can also get away to where it kind of fishes like a lake back in some sloughs. So has that helped you as your progress through your career?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like growing up on the TVA is about the absolute best fishery you can grow up on, no matter what
Okay.
TVA lake it is, just because you can pretty much have every kind of like technique play a certain time of the year. You can understand every kind of condition like you get put in as far as like going to a new lake or something like that. The only thing that like we can't really understand on TVA fishery is like some like clear water herring fisheries. They definitely
Right.
fish a lot different, but pretty much everywhere else I've been, even up north, smallmouth fishing, like I feel like the TVA just sets you up to succeed in all the other lakes, other than like a herring fishery. They're a lot
Agreed.
different than TVA lakes, unless you go up in like some creeks and fish around some muddy water. Like that's definitely like similar to the TVA. But if you're in the clear water, those fish just act complete different than
Totally.
TVA do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So,
Oh dang!
is there like an early memory?
You guys got me.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
you, brother.
Yeah.
Is there an early memory that still influences you of and how
Can you
you
guys hear
fish
me?
today? Yeah, can you hear us? Oh, he'll be right back. There he is.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Hey, can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can hear you.
We got you.
Can you hear us? I don't think he can hear us. Can you hear us, Banks?
Can you hear us?
Let's see if we.
Do you want me to look if I see you on the podcast?
See, I can hear him.
Yeah.
So, while we're trying to figure this out, but yeah, Pappy. I mean, it's just from what he's done in his career, like what I said earlier. Like, I mean, he has been taking money from grown men for a long time on Chickamauga before he even, had even really started fishing any kind of professional tours.
Well, and I think, and again, just kind of reiterate what he said. I seriously think that the TVA it can make you a better fisherman, and it can also spoil you in ways because you know
For sure.
but even when they're not pulling water, it can kind of relate to a reservoir
Yeah.
fishery, and that's, I guess that's where you have to transition in that mindset. And just as well as I do, man, that's one of the hardest things to do because we're so used to running water and them pulling the water, and once they stop that, now we're searching for wind and stuff like that, and we have to kind of transition our way of thinking of what are we gonna do, or technique to throw to try to catch these fish.
Yeah.
And but it's hard. I mean, what these guys do and have to go to these different fisheries and to fish them, especially when you're used to a TVA lake. I commend people like Bank Shaw and uh, you know all of them that if they fish in any kind of Tennessee river system, and then
Right.
having to go to like a reservoir and try to fish some kind of type of reservoir or something like that. I mean, it could get challenging and
Uh,
especially stressful. I mean, I couldn't imagine. I couldn't
uh,
imagine it.
I'm right there with you. I mean, it's uh, my thing is like how that one thing that I think that kind of separates them from just, let's just say, your average weekend angler and stuff like that is the fact that they have a couple of days to be able to
Mm-hmm.
go pre-fish. And some of these tournaments, though, they don't get any kind of pre-fish. They get dropped off at the lake, and they say they get a map handed to them. They say, you got from this area to this area. Show us what you can do,
Yeah.
but to be able to go and find the fish that they need to be able to put themselves in the in contentions to win, or just to be in the money, let
Mhm.
alone win. And we and I think that, and a lot of it, he even said, he just spent a lot of time out, out on the water. And everybody that we talked to, just about trying to get better, that's what everybody says. You have to spend time out on the water. And so I but just how they're able to find fish literally so quick. And it's, what's up, brother? Can you hear us? Can you hear us? There you go. I don't know what's. Can you hear us, Banks? Let's see. What if I do? All right. I'll send him.
Yeah, I mean, but even when he was talking about, when he was just a young lad, and getting in a john boat and
Just go.
puttering
Yeah.
around and beating the banks, and back in Wolf Teaver and stuff like that. And I tell you, that's not a bad place to start either. Back there in Wolf Teaver Creek,
No.
it goes pretty deep back in there.
I'm
Yeah.
not
So,
sure what's going.
um,
I don't know why it's acting up. But yeah, you I mean, you've fished Chickamauga, I mean, just as long as I have, and we've gone back into Wolf Teaver, and we have caught a bunch of fish back there, and
Well, there's plenty of things to fish. I mean, you got all kinds of options. You got a little bit of deep water. You got some springs. You got some pools. You got docks. You got stumps. You got some bluffs. You know, there's just there's so much back there that you know. And the crazy thing is it's one of those creeks that there's no telling how long it would take you to fish it, you know,
no,
and probably you would probably still miss something, you
uh,
know.
oh yeah, but and that's one thing about kind of like what he was saying about fishing Tennessee rivers, and it doesn't matter what lake it is that you have the opportunity to be able to learn that shallow water. You're able to learn deep water stuff. You're able to learn ledges and different kind of structures on the Tennessee River, with it being grass, docks, or whatever. That's kind of helps widen that learning tool and stuff that you're as you're growing up fishing on it. And um and so I mean it is. Can you hear us? I don't know what it is, brother. Let's see. If I, can you hear us?
I wonder if he's got some earbuds.
Yeah. Let's see.
Sometimes it
Let's see if he gets that. Uh, but yeah, I mean, it's growing up. I mean, you've seen it time and time again. With anglers and stuff that has grown up on the Tennessee River, and I mean, it's just it's.
Can you hear me,
I
guys?
mean, yeah. Can you hear us? Can you hear us, Banks?
It says speaker connected.
Yeah, it's saying that. Can you hear us, Banks? So it's only showing that he don't have hardly any kind of service on it. It's not even showing any kind of bars when it was showing about 3. Let's see. He says that he does not. Okay. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so, but let's see. I'm trying to figure out what we can do. Oh, can you hear us, Banks? Let's see. Settings. All right, but yeah, I mean, because let's see, because I can hear him. Can you hear him?
I can hear him. I just can't. I
He
think
can't
it's on
hear
his
us.
end.
Yeah. Well, see, now he's got a little better signal. Let's see. It's going to remove this. Sorry, guys. We will get it. We'll get it figured out. I'm going to, next time, I'm just going to tell him to see if he can completely go out and log all the way back in. But, and what's, we've talked about this before. I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast, but I know we have on the boat of like how different, like one different from like lake to lake, like let's say Chickamauga, Nickajack, Gunnersville, all of them fish differently, but in some areas they fish the same.
Yeah.
And so, but and I think that also helps out. I mean, because being, like even from here, we're a stone's throw from Chickamauga, Nickajack, Gunnersville, and I mean, and not that far from hitting Watts Bar, and I mean, we can drive an hour and a half and be on Wheeler. So that's, I mean, that's what, 5 lakes that that are pretty well known. Well, Nickajack now, but I mean, and Watts Bar's coming up and is having, some big fish caught in it and consistently. So
yeah.
But excuse me. So I think, I mean, and like you have Banks, and then I mean, and we see Wheeler out on Chickamauga quite a bit. We see Hunter and Fletcher Shryock on Chickamauga quite a bit, and so I mean, we've got a bunch of anglers that's around here with Buddy Gross and the Nut brothers, they grew up and I think and they fished at Saudi Daisy High School. So I mean, so and right now I don't know if there's any 3 people that are out tournament fishing professionally that is as hot as the Nut brothers and Banks right now.
Oh yeah. I mean, and and how adversible they are, that they can pretty much do any kind of whatever technique, whether it's forward facing or just out there fishing,
Can you hear us, Banks?
We got you, brother.
We got you now. We got you.
Perfect. I don't know exactly what happened. I tried turning off the Wi-Fi and everything else. It did not seem to make any difference.
That's just that modern technology,
Yeah.
It's part of it. I mean, I don't know. It's weird, man. I one time I couldn't even get on the podcast because there was something going on with my stuff. I don't know, but anyways, we'll just jump right back into it.
Yeah.
You've had an incredible run. Well, first of all, I just want to say, with a man like you with the name Banks, you was destined to fish to begin with. I mean, that me and Colin was talking about it, and I said to have a name like Banks Shaw, the man was already destined. He was already going to be destined to be a fisherman. But I had to throw that little tidbit out there. But you had an incredible run the last couple of years, dominating the college scene, setting records on the invitationals, and an unreal average of finishes that you had. You went in Angler of the Year, rookie, and now your first Bass Pro Tour victory with an epic comeback at Grand Lake. What does the BPT win mean to you personally?
Yeah, it was a complete different kind of feeling just because like most five fish tournaments, I mean, you don't know, like you'll catch a real big one late in the day and you don't know if it's actually the one that does it, but being out there on the water, knowing exactly where you're sitting with the live score tracker and everything, it was a complete different feeling. Like I can't even really describe it. Basically, to come back like I did, I feel like that's a feeling like that's completely different than like say you were leading by 40 pounds and basically knew you were gonna win like 30 minutes to go or something like that. Like you were 100% gonna win the tournament, but to creep up like that and win the tournament, dude, it was a crazy feeling that I can't even really describe.
Oh, I could imagine. I could imagine. I
So
can't
do you?
imagine, but
Nah. So do you like the catch wave release more so than doing a five fish tournament? Like, I mean, just period in general, or to have a tournament that is a five fish weigh in?
Oh, personally, I mean, yeah, I think it's the future of the sport probably just because I mean there's so many tournaments that are around now and with forward facing being out, like for some tournaments where they can use it the entire time. Like the amount of fish getting caught and pulled out of certain areas, like I think that the every fish counts format, like catch, weigh, release, is personally like my opinion is the future of the sport just because like like looking at the conservation side, I mean it's definitely better for the fishery than any other kind of format out there.
Yeah, and I agree. And at first, when they first came out, I was kind of, not that I was against it. I just didn't. I didn't care too much for it because I mean, theoretically, bringing five fish to a stage is pretty much for your viewers, anyways, to be able to see the anglers carry and holding up some big fish, and and I felt like that took it away when they went to catch, weigh, release. But as the more time went on, and I was seeing what being on Chickamauga, and just as well as anybody that, I mean, Chickamauga gets hammered. There's not a day that Chickamauga don't have a bunch of boats on it. And then on the weekends, you've got 200 to 300 boats that's in tournaments that's out there trying to fish the same areas. But I have seen over the years to where MLF and the Bass Pro Tour has come to lakes and been able to fish after them, and that it has seemed like, because usually, I mean, after having, like, let's say a 4-day tournament on there with you guys that are on there, that the impoundment gets hammered and beat up. And after coming fishing behind a Bass Pro Tour, the fish, they don't really act like they're as beat up as if they were to be able to been put into a box and then travel wherever to go get weighed in.
Yeah, whenever you fish a five fish tournament and put them in the box, like I mean, just growing up on Chickamauga, I'll throw out a good example, like the Toyota Series. It was I believe it was in March last year. There was a big flood and pretty much all the fish pulled into any kind of like clean water they could get to, like in all the main creeks down the lake, and that's where I grew up fishing, so I knew like how big the population of fish was and like pretty much each creek. And basically after that tournament, whenever all those fish really did get hammered and hauled up to Dayton, Tennessee, like a good ways up the lake, and then going back out there after that tournament, like I could tell like how much the population actually went down just from a five fish tournament. And like just understanding it as well as I did, knowing what was around, like what lived in the certain areas, like
Right.
I noticed it firsthand, like actually like how much a five fish tournament puts a dent in the population.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we got a question from a guy named Ben. and I guess he's locally because he's asking on Chickamauga. There has not been much current, if any at all. How would you approach a river system that is not pulling any water?
It's a good question.
So the majority of the time, like whenever there's not much current at all, like the way I look at it is the fish are just gonna kind of be on their like kind of like halfway points out to their summer haunts. So the current most of the time like pulls the fish out to the main river, I guess you could say, just because the bait's gonna be flushing down the river. That's where they're gonna get the majority of their food at. So they're going to be like on their halfway points, basically, like any kind of like brush pile, hard spot, like any kind of secondary point, just halfway points in between their spawning locations and the main rivers where those fish are going to kind of rest until they feel that water movement and actually want to pull out to the main river and feed.
I mean, that's kind of that's pinpoint from what we have definitely been seeing with going out on Chick. Is they're not quite out there. There's some that is out on the ledges, especially on like your community holes and stuff. But the bait has definitely been. I've seen more bait on the secondary points and the sloughs
Mm-hmm.
here of late. Um. So we got another question. So would you this ask, would you rather hold on, it moved up on me. Would you rather be fishing shallow with a forward facing sonar or out on a ledge or in deeper water without?
Oh, I mean, that's kind of a hard question there. There's certain times like whenever you can be out deep and the fish are fresh and it doesn't really matter like whether you have it or you not. They're just gonna chew either way pretty much when they first get out there. Then up shallow, I mean there's certain times whenever you can find the isolated pieces of structure that are a little bit off the bank and kind of in that shallower depth range, I would say like 6 to 3 foot, I guess you could say, or even six to a foot, really. And you can really utilize it up there just to kind of see the stuff that's just off the bank that you wouldn't see if you were just using your eyes, like your visual targets. So I mean, personally, like I would rather have it whenever I'm off the bank. I would say like out super deep is definitely the best time to have it, just because like whether you're in a 5 fish format or every fish counts format, like, you can kind of target those isolated big fish. Like say you have a big school, they're not all going to be sitting in just one tight little circle. You can actually see kind of some bigger fish. Most of the time, they kind of sit around the sides of like the main group of fish, and you can kind of target those bigger fish out there deeper with it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're known for like kind of, I would say, like mastering the Tennessee River systems, especially like Chickamauga and like Gunnersville, Pickwick areas and stuff. What makes those fisheries special to you, and how do you approach offshore fishing and ledge fishing differently than a lot of other pros?
Oh, so I mean, like one main thing you have to like pick up on whenever you go to a TVA fishery is like the current flow. So a lot of the lakes, I mean, the current's going to flow. I mean, well, every TVA lake, the current's going to flow from the upper dam down to the lower dam. So all your upward facing bars are going to have the current just pounding on them pretty much. And those fish want to sit majority of the time towards like the upper part of the bar just so they're like sitting right there. So the bait fish basically are going to hit like the upward facing like part of the bar first. And like, so they're going to be right there where they can just get the first bait ball that comes over the flat basically pretty much, or like they'll sit on like just over the top of the bar, so like the current will flow, it will hit it and flow over it, and they'll be sitting right out of the current, and the bait will just pretty much flow right over them. So you have to basically kind of read the current as best you possibly can. Just look at it like it flows from the upper dam down to the bottom dam, and just kind of put the puzzles of the or put the pieces to the puzzle together. Pretty much
Right.
is what it comes down to, and understand it as best you possibly can as far as the current flowing down the river.
So is boat positioning more important shallow water or offshores? I mean, it's important either way, but do you see that it's more important in one factor than it is the other?
I would say, I mean, it's about the same deep or shallow. I've seen it so many times, like, no matter if I'm deep or shallow, like say you have a group of fish, you catch a few of them, like if you just change up your angle, the way you cast them, just show them something different,
Right.
like it'll just instantly produce bites, like nothing like you've seen, like you wouldn't expect it at all. Like you would just think like, okay, they're probably done biting. Like you just switch up angles on, like pull it from the complete different angle, because they'll all be pretty much facing one way. Like you're casting your bait, they're feeding that same way. Then you just change up something on them, and it'll fire them up again, pretty much.
Yeah, and that's we've talked about this before, like on uh for about fishing the Tennessee River and stuff like that, is where we can, like, you can tell like when there's a somebody that is has not fished the Tennessee River, they just come to Chickamauga because they hear it has big bass, you can catch a PB bass double digit, and you can see like how they're sitting on the ledges to where uh a lot of times like we will fish to where, like, if we're fishing a ledge, that we are fishing a ledge out towards the deeper water or towards the channel, to where the boat, we're in between the boat, or I mean in between the ledge and the bank of the river. And a lot of people really kind of don't use that kind of technique to be able to get that bite going.
Yeah, like the way you set up on fish, like typically, like right off the rip, I guess you could say, like how I normally like to first pull up to a group. It's just like your TVA, like all your basics. Like you want to bring your bait with the current off the start for sure. But I've seen it where times are like you can start off like that and then just completely switch it up on them, like something they haven't seen, and actually pull your bait like up current or to the side of them, and it'll just trigger those fish in a little different way, just because they're not used to seeing it that way. Like every normal like kind of TVA fisherman, like it looks at it like bring your bait with the current, just because the shad they flush down with the current every time. But you can definitely switch it up on them, and it'll kind of surprise them, startle them, whatever you want to call it, and it'll trigger some bites.
Well, that's what I was wanting to ask you too. Have you found it to be really successful at like a cross current uh, cast at a group of fish instead of a north south, you know, with current or either downstream or upstream current?
Oh, I mean, most of the time, not like I said. I mean, like the majority of the time, you're just gonna want to be down current of the fish and throwing up current, bringing your bait with the current.
Right.
But I mean, there are certain times, like it has to be a place that sets up just right to kind of throw like across the current and kind of just let it flush down with it. But majority of the time, you're just going to want to be below it and throw up the current and let your bait come naturally down the current.
Yeah.
Sweet. That's good to know. So you've had some big wins using finesse techniques, jerk baits, drop shots, and more. What are some of your go-to patterns or baits right now that listeners should be throwing, especially for a summer and fall fishing?
Yeah, so summertime, I mean, the fish are going to be moving out to their summer haunts. A lot of times, whenever you get to like, I'm just gonna use Lake Chickamauga as an example. Like
Mhm.
whenever you find those fish and they're fresh out there, a crankbait, a hair jig, a big spoon, just like your traditional like ledge fishing baits. If you want to get really big bites, those are like kind of your staples for as far as like firing up a school and getting like say 3 to 5 big bites out of a group. And then as the year goes on, the fish get a lot tougher to catch. Then you have to move to like your finesse style baits, like your drop shot, your Nico rig, like like a Carolina rig, a jig, and then you can also mix in your jig head minnow to just generate bites pretty much. But earlier in the year, the fish are going to be fresh and they're going to pretty much bite whatever goes by them. So that's whenever you can resort to like the super big, oversized bait if you want to go after the bigger than average fish in the school, pretty much.
So I got a question about I like to drop shot whenever possible. I don't know, it's like one of my favorite finesse techniques to do. I'm not necessarily great at it, but I like to do it. Anyhow, whenever you set up your drop shot technique, and I've heard of different guys that would talk, and they use different side or different type of hooks. They may go with a small finesse hook, or your typical drop shot hook, or they may even increase the hook, maybe go to a 1 or something like that. Um, but as far as like leader goes, or how far are you setting your hooks up your line there versus are you adjusting to the fish, or what is your go to there?
No, the drop shot's a bait I really kind of just keep simple.
Hmm.
I typically only go. I mean, like a probably like a 8 to 12 inch leader above, or like 12 to 8 inches above my drop shot weight. So I just keep it a little bit above the bottom. I've heard like some guys before say like, yeah, keep it like 2 or 3 foot above the bottom. I personally have never even tried that. I just, like I said, I keep it simple. And if they're biting it, I feel like they're pretty much going to bite it, whether you have it 8 inches or 12 inches or 14 inches above the weight, like they're just going to be eating it.
Okay, sweet.
So how, because I like we heard like on the at the first tournament and stuff this year with Gunnersville, like you you had to reapply for the next semester of school, and it was what you had to do it right before the tournament. And so how are you balancing like college life, professional tournaments, and then just being out on the road? How are you able to keep that balance and to be able to stay focused and be like mentally sharp still out on the water with everything that you've got going on?
Yeah, that's a man. It's hard to do for sure. It's kind of one of those deals. Like I just try to stay as busy as I possibly can out on the water, and just go back to the house and kind of do that at the same time.
Yeah.
Can you guys give me 1 second? I got a UPS driver pulling up. I got
Yeah,
to sign for this package.
you're
Yeah,
good.
no,
You're
you're
good.
good. Good.
So yeah, Pappy. I mean, I couldn't imagine, when I was in college, there's no way that I could have been mentally, uh, you know, to be able to be on the road as much as they are,
Hmm.
and traveling, and then be able to keep my mind clear enough to be able to know and focus on like I need this to be able to go, uh, and to be and still be able to pull off tournaments. It to me is just I don't know how in the world he does it. It's crazy. It just blows my mind just to see how he's doing it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
sorry about that, guys.
Oh, you're
I
good,
got a
bro.
UPS driver right here. They're staring at me with their little device out, wanting me to sign for a package.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
so
Yeah, but what you were saying, man, like leveling out the college and the professional fishing, it's dude, it's definitely crazy. Like just being at a professional level tournament where there's so much money on the line, and also, I mean, it's not all the time, but there are a handful of tournaments where like there'll be finals going on, or just any kind of like big test, or I'm just busy or something like that, and having to come back whenever you're at practice for a big tournament and having to worry about something completely different else as far as like school or a big test or something like that.
Right.
It's not what you want to worry about by any means at all. But
No.
just like I was talking about, just being that busy and everything, it just kind of pushes me to do better and better, and I like to stay as busy as I possibly can, and it just pushes me to try to do better out there on the water, just because I know I have so much going on while I'm at tournaments.
Yeah. And I mean, because that's one thing that it is that I was saying while you was getting that sign is like to me, when I was in college and stuff, like I mean, I was busy enough as it is with it and stuff that I couldn't imagine throwing uh I mean, I played uh baseball in school and stuff, and I could see about doing like the tournaments like that, but then when it comes down to where you're fishing for $100,000 or $125,000 or whatever, and knowing that like, all right, I've got to be pinpoint on, I got to know what's going on and figure out all this stuff. It is, I don't, to me, it just blows my mind. So, I mean,
Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
kudos to you, brother, on it.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine the stress and the anxiety of balancing both. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
it's going from one extreme to the next, and the military was stressful enough, and you had it was controlled chaos. So I guess that's kind of how it is, though. I mean, it's controlled chaos for you guys out there.
yeah. Michael Bradley says, "Good evening, fellas. That was an exciting last period to watch." No, we got you still. Can you hear us? All right, we'll get him back on.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's some, and it's he said, we had last week we had Caleb Bell on, and Caleb said the exact same thing that he just said. If you guys caught that from last week to this week, the two baits that Caleb said that he would be throwing right now, Banks just said with a big spoon and a hair jig. So if you're not having either one of those tied on right now while you're ledge fishing, you might want to think twice about it. So he was just on, but
I'm back in here. Can you guys hear me?
yeah, we got you, brother.
Sounds good.
So so we won't hold you up too much longer. Next week this month we're doing a MLF takeover. So everybody that has been on is fishing in the MLF in some form or fashion. And next week we got some people that's going to be on that you may have heard about. I mean, you don't. I mean, it's not that they're a big name by no means, but I mean, we just got the Bassmaster Classic winner coming on with his brother, so we're going nuts next week. Is there a question that you would want to ask, or for us to ask the Nut Brothers from you? That you is there a question that you would want us to ask during the podcast next week with them.
Are you asking me if I want you guys to ask a question?
Yeah, is there a question that you would want us to ask the Nut Brothers from you?
Man. No, I mean I don't have any questions. I'm so close with them and everything. I mean,
Right. That was the reason why I kind of
question.
said it like that, but because we had Wesley Strader on, and he wants us to ask, because I told him that we was going to have the Nut Brothers on. I just didn't know if it was going to be this week or the next week. And he wanted us to ask, how many times have they tricked girls when one's been dating one and they swapped them out?
That's a good one. That's a good one.
So
that's a real good one.
but thanks, man. We're so stoked to be able to have you on, and it is a pleasure to be able to watch you grow and being in the Chattanooga area and seeing what you've done and with taking a lot of money from these grown men from on Chickamauga and stuff like that. It's been a real pleasure to watch you, and especially as you've grown up. But is there something that a piece of advice that you would give kids that are trying to make a high school team or trying to go collegiately? Is there some advice that you would give to them?
Oh yeah, I mean the best thing I can say, like I know a lot of people will say the same thing, is just putting your time in on the water. You got to want to be out there and love to do it and have the drive to go out there and just want to learn, figure out where you're going to get the next bite, that kind of deal. And that's definitely what got me to where I'm at now. I loved it since day one and been eat up with it since.
Heck yeah. So, hey, Pappy, do you want to talk real quick about the salute to valor and stuff?
Yeah, let's do the salute to valor before we move into the final question here.
Yeah.
So today's salute to valor is none other than one of our sponsors, and this guy he's I mean he's a great guy. He sponsors the podcast, our salute to valor part of the podcast, which is this. We get to take not, or I guess call out the men and women in uniform and thank them for what they do and the sacrifices they made for our country so that we can do what we do here, fish and talk about fishing and get to have guys like Bank Shaw and on the podcast and just sit around and talk. But it's none other than Master Sergeant Luke Carthorne. He was in the Air Force. His MOS was 3D 174, which is Spectrum Operations. I'm not too familiar with the Air Force, but sounds like an important job to me. He spent 20 years in service. If you don't know, and if you have never been in the military, 3 years is a long time in service. I mean, the things that we put our bodies through to day in and day out just to stay fit and to stay ready for combat or just training in general. I mean, 20 years, that's a good bit of time. And Master Sergeant Luke Carthon, we appreciate you. We salute you, brother. Thank you for your sacrifice and thank you for what you do for the podcast. I mean, there's no more words that we got for you. I mean, you guys over there at Ways Energy Drinks, y'all do an excellent job, put out an excellent product, and we really honestly thank you from the depths of our heart.
Yeah. So thank you guys. And but real quick, Banks, I want to ask you, like, you had done what was it? What was it? With one of your sponsors, you had done the to where if people bought that entered them into a free fishing trip with you. And one, can you talk about like your sponsors that kind of help you get to be able to do what you do, and can you also talk about like that, if especially if y'all are going to do another one of those like the fish with you or the Nut Brothers?
Yeah, so I haven't thought about any other kind of just fishing trip just yet. But I mean, sponsors, I mean, every one of these guys that are in this the pro fishing industry, they'll all tell you like we could not do it without those sponsors. I mean, I have Rapala, Icon, Yamaha, Bigs Only, Crush City, 13 Fishing, Suffolk's Line, Hennessy Outdoor Electronics. They're right around Chattanooga. And I mean, like guys will tell you over and over, we could not do it without the backing behind us. It's definitely how we make this possible. Also, Sims, I mean, they have some great apparel out there as well, along with Bigs Only. And yeah, it's definitely super nice to have those guys behind us and everything, and support us along the way, and just make this dream kind of possible to chase.
Heck yeah. So and I actually I need to go and get a couple of some shirts from that Bigs Only, and
Yeah, really.
because some of their apparel is, I mean, the apparel on there is just phenomenal. And so, uh, but let's go with our last question, brother. If you could have one person on the boat, that person can be still with us or have passed on, who would that be, and why would you want them on the boat?
Man, I would have to say my grandpa that passed, his name's Bob. He kind of like grew up just right around the lake, just like I did. I got to spend a few years with him. He always had houseboats, all kind of John boats. He was always wanting to fish out there. I just never really got to fish with him whenever I was like super young and everything. I would say he'd be the one guy I'd want to have on the boat with me one more time.
Heck yeah. Now, what would you think that he would be going through his mind? You know, like seeing the technology and stuff that has uh that how far technology has come in the fishing industry. What do you think would be like going through his? Do you think it would blow his mind that we could actually watch fish actually bite a bait?
Oh yeah, I mean 100%. I mean it's pretty crazy. I mean even to me like that we can really like know what's going on and understand like so much nowadays compared to I mean even just 6 years ago, 7 years ago that like I mean it's just crazy how much has changed. I'm sure it'd be even like more just mind boggling to somebody that has like seen it just evolve over so many years.
Right, right.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, it definitely is for me.
yeah, I mean it is definitely crazy to see just from the time that with growing up, and I grew up in Middle Tennessee fishing Old Hickory Lake, and then moved to Chattanooga and been here for 26 years, going on 27, uh, and just seeing going from being in my grandfather's boat with a flasher, it's just been crazy to see what
Yeah.
it is now.
Oh yeah.
So, but guys, we're going to get off here next week again. We have the Nut Brothers coming on, and so we're going to get to ask questions to them and kind of chit chat, pick their brains a little bit, and but don't make sure you don't miss that episode. But there's links to every social media for Banks in the description. So make sure you go hit those links, hit that like, follow, and subscribe, and keep track of what Banks is doing. And so, and make sure you tell him that you saw him on the Deck Talk podcast. And with that being said, remember, guys, God loves you as if you were the only person in this world to love. And we will see you next week, guys.
Appreciate it, Banks.
Appreciate you guys for having me on.
Thank you.